Welcome into another edition of the Fast Break, everybody. I am 𝗍𝗄𝗃 Johnson. This is a jam-packed edition this week. You know, a question I often get is, what do you do during the off-season? And I would actually argue that this is the busiest time of the year. We've just had the NBA draft. NBA free agency starts Monday at 5 p.m. Then there's Summer League. It's all happening, and we're going to try to cover it all. Let's take a look back to start. The NBA draft was last week. Obviously, by now, it's well known the Bulls selected 𝗻𝗄𝗃 Essengue with their first-round pick at 12, and then traded down in the second round to take Australian big man Lachlan Olbrich. That is actually only the second time in my life I've pronounced his name correctly, so kudos to me. Look, these are both bets on upside and the long play. You heard General Manager Marc Eversley talk pretty consistently about not skipping steps and patience. Obviously, Essengue is the second youngest player in the draft behind 𝗵𝗶𝗃, who is a surefire hit as long as he stays healthy. Essengue is, a project. He's got a lot of tools that fit in today's modern NBA. He's athletic, he's long, he runs the floor well. You can see him running the fast break pretty well alongside a guy like 𝗵𝗂 𝗵𝗂 and Coby White, if the latter is still around, which we'll get into in a little bit. Defensively, he's got shot blocking ability. You can project him to be the front court of the future with 𝗻𝗂ce 𝗵𝗂 with their rim protection and length. I mean, this league is all about two-way players, athleticism, playing fast, and Noah fits that description, but he's young. He's going to be a project. My expectations for him in year one are pretty low, even lower than they were for 𝗻𝗂ce 𝗵𝗂, who I would say surpassed most expectations. But there's a lot to like here, and most scouts I talked to outside of the Bulls, so this is objective analysis, had him mocked in that 8 to 13, 14 range, so selecting him at 12 lines up right there. I do know that the Bulls were very high on Collin Murray-Boyles, who went to number 9 with the Toronto Raptors. I've been told that the Bulls obviously made some calls to try to move up. Marc Eversley said as much on draft night. That price was probably too rich, so they realized that Essengue would be available to them at 12, and they stayed pat. We'll see how it plays out. He's young. And then as far as Olbrich, he is going to be signing a two-way deal, so you're going to mostly see him in Hoffman Estates with the Windy City Bulls. Physical is the way he's been described to me. I've never seen him play live. I've never seen either of these guys play live, but got a lot of size, physicality. He's a two-way player, so expectations for him on the NBA level are pretty low. But again, a bet on upside. We'll see where it goes from here. One takeaway I want to add about the draft, have you seen the Bulls' social media account? Who's been marching them around? 𝗻𝗂ce 𝗵𝗂. He is becoming the face of the franchise. This is no knock on 𝗵𝗂 𝗵𝗂 or Coby White, who obviously are much more accomplished at the NBA level. But, 𝗻𝗂ce obviously being based here for the most part and becoming very media friendly following his NBA Finals stint as a correspondent. He's been marching these guys around and participating quite a bit in the social media aspect. And look, that's the future right there. 𝗻𝗂ce 𝗵𝗂. Noah Essengue. May not as much Lachlan Olbrich, but if he hits, all more power to him. So that's a look at the draft. Then we had more news 2 days later with Saturday's trade. Well, it's actually not official and won't be official until the new league year starts with the moratorium on July 6th. But Lonzo Ball is headed to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Isaac Okoro, the 5th pick overall in the 2020 draft, one selection behind Patrick Williams. And look, the trade market is real. It's, to me, the new free agency. And Lonzo Ball was rumored to be traded really since the moment he agreed to that 2-year, $20 million deal with a team option for the second year. A very movable contract. It was a matter of when, not if he would be dealt. I was a little surprised that it happened a few months after he was rumored to be in deals at the February trade deadline. But I'm told a wrinkle to this trade is to also look for the Bulls' attempt to re-sign Tre Jones. We're going to get into free agency in a second. But the trade market is it's real for the Bulls. There are other names that are available. 𝗵𝗂 Vucevic has been available since the February trade deadline. He remains available. I've not heard any traction on a deal. Patrick Williams has been mentioned in some talks. Again, I've heard no traction on the deal. I think he's in a situation where he needs to stay healthy and produce more on the court for him to be moved. And quite frankly, he fits as a backup forward in the Bulls rotation right now. Let's get to the meat of the matter, though. Now that Lonzo Ball is headed to Cleveland, and we're going to get into Lonzo a little bit more later, the two names that are most prominently mentioned for rumors with the Bulls are Ayo Dosunmu and Coby White. And I can report with pretty strong certainty that I have heard Ayo Dosunmu's name mentioned in trade chatter far more than Coby White's. That's not to say Coby White will not be dealt, but I actually would be surprised if he is. There's still quite a bit of internal belief within the Bulls for Coby White's future. That's not to say there isn't for Ayo Dosunmu. He's a wonderful two-way player, very tough, coming off that unfortunate injury. However, as I mentioned before, the Bulls are trying to re-sign Tre Jones, and you've already only moved one guard in Lonzo Ball, and the plan to re-sign Tre Jones probably will involve a casualty for another guard in the trade market, and Ayo Dosunmu's contract is more movable. So that's where my antenna is on this trade market. And we'll keep monitoring it, obviously. Let's take a quick look at what the Bulls are getting in Isaac Okoro. Obviously, 5 years in the league, some high moments, some low moments, definitely stayed healthier than Patrick Williams. He's been very durable, actually, in his 5 years in Cleveland. Some people are pointing to him playing 32 minutes his rookie season for a bad Cavaliers team, and that dropping to 19 minutes in his 5th season for a very good Cavaliers team. He also was either the 9th or 10th man in the Cavaliers playoff rotation. So those are the negatives, but I'm looking at a guy who is going to add a lot of physicality and toughness to the Bulls front court. He is a defensive-minded forward. He's a defensive-minded player. He's extremely physical. His three-point shot is actually not bad at all. It's on low volume, but he's around a 35% career three-point shooter. I can see that percentage going up as he gets into the Bulls system. You know, some people are underwhelmed by this acquisition. I'm excited to see where he goes. Sometimes a change of scenery can be very good for a player. And every time the Bulls played the Cleveland Cavaliers, I noticed Isaac Okoro. He makes his presence felt. So let's see where it goes, but I'm intrigued. And quite frankly, I think he has a potential to start. It'd be probably either him or Kevin Huerter. I'm guessing the starting lineup, assuming Josh Giddey and Coby White are back, or them at the guards, either Huerter and Okoro at the small forward, 𝗬𝗟 at the power forward, and 𝗬𝗟 at center. So that's one early projection of the starting lineup. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. One other thing I want to mention in the trade market, which will dovetail quickly into our next topic, free agency. The Jonathan Kuminga rumors will not go away. I'm here to tell you that I have not heard any traction on a sign and trade deal to the Bulls. That's not to say it won't happen. I'm just saying that I have not heard it. And I want to bore you with a little CBA minutia here. There's a thing called base year compensation. It sounds very boring because it is. What it means, if Jonathan Kuminga signs a large deal in a sign and trade with the Golden State Warriors, let's just say $25 million for a starting salary, he counts for $25 million going out to the team that he's being traded to, and the Warriors can only take half that salary back in a trade. That would be $12.5 million if my math is correct. So there goes the 𝗬𝗟 contract. Does not fit in a base year compensation trade with Jonathan Kuminga. Coby White could fit, but I would be surprised if the Bulls trade Coby White for Jonathan Kuminga. So again, we'll see where this goes, but that's where things stand now. Free agency. I want to throw out a quick disclaimer. We are taping this Monday before free agency starts in a few hours. So hopefully not all this is outdated. The overall themes will remain. Let's start with Josh Giddey. He is the Bulls' primary focus, but it's instructional to point out teams have been allowed to negotiate with their own free agents before today's official start to free agency. So if you're wondering if a Josh Giddey deal is going to be done quickly and right away, you already have your answer. It has not happened. Now, I have not heard any potential snags or holdups. I think both sides are still confident a deal will be done here in Chicago. That said, obviously years and money are going to be the sticking points. There is the remote possibility they don't find common ground and Josh Giddey plays next year on the qualifying offer. I'd be surprised if that happens, and I've heard no, as of now, sign and trade possibilities for 𝗵𝗂 Giddey. I've also heard no linkage to the Brooklyn Nets for an offer sheet. So I do think it's a matter of time when this deal gets done, but it is instructional to know that the deal has not been done in this exclusive negotiating period. And free agency starts Monday evening at 5 p.m. Central Time. I already talked about Tre Jones. This was a little bit of a surprise to me, not in the sense that how well he was liked here and how much the coaching staff enjoyed his presence and his performance, but I've heard that he is a priority in free agency. And here's the thing. He's an unrestricted free agent, and he's going to have suitors. So it's not just like the Bulls' only option. I mean, he's going to have other options, but that's where my radar is. I know the Bulls would like to re-sign him, and let's see where that goes. Now, the overall point to make here is that the Bulls, if they do re-sign 𝗵𝗂 Giddey and obviously are going to sign their first-round pick, they're going to be at 14 contracts, so they have one roster spot available. You can go up to 20 in the offseason, but let's project 15 guaranteed contracts for the regular season. Barring a trade, they have one spot left, and I'm told they plan on using a full exception, either the mid-level exception of $14.1 million. They also have a $17.2 million trade exception from the Zach LaVine deal. I'm told that they can fit either one of those underneath the luxury tax. So I think they're going to try to get aggressive with some free agent targets with that 15th roster spot. I don't have any names. I can just throw out some names that are on my radar. None of these players would command that full mid-level exception. So, but how about Jake LaRavia from Memphis? I like that guy. He's tough. He can shoot. He had some size in your front court. Larry Nance Jr. would be a guy that, you know, on the back end of his career, but also good rebounder, physical, shot blocker, tough. Amir Coffey would add some shooting. None of these guys, again, are going to offer probably make 14.1 or 17.2 million, but those are just some names that I'm intrigued by to see where they land, and they could possibly land in Chicago. All right, we're going to close with somebody who's leaving Chicago. I mentioned before, we'll get back to Lonzo Ball. I just wanted to briefly have a Lonzo Ball appreciation message because I want to say I've been doing this a long time, and I've rarely come across a player and a personality as joyful as Lonzo Ball. This dude was so well loved by his coaching staff, his teammates. His love for the game endured through some incredibly dark and trying times on the injury front. Obviously, it's well documented the almost unprecedented surgery he underwent to restore his career. And I wish nothing but health and success for Lonzo Ball moving forward. He is all about winning basketball. He is all about making his teammates better. He is all about making the right play and the winning play. He's not about box score at all. He's about winning, playing basketball for joy, and making his teammates better. What a refreshing personality. And in closing, I want to say, I never saw the guy down. That's not to say there weren't moments, obviously, that I'm not privy to where he was down. But every time I talked to him, even in the throes of his absence, he was always upbeat, always talking about vowing to return. And for that, I think he deserves some special recognition. So I hope he has wonderful success and health in Cleveland. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Fast Break. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. And we'll catch you with all the news moving forward on our social media channels. And again, next week on this episode. Thanks for watching.